So, I've been thinking about my family's finances lately. Not so much in a how should we save or are we doing enough kind of way, more so in a why does this still feel heavy even when things are okay kind of way. Because if I'm being honest, we are financially okay because we're close to paying off our last debt, which is our car loan, and it's this car that I'm sitting in right now in the next couple of months. And we also have savings, more than one actually. And we're not behind on bills, we're not scrambling. And I know that's something I should feel proud of, but instead of relief, what I feel is pressure. Like the moment one financial goal is almost done, another one immediately replaces it, as if there's no pause allowed, no in between moments. So I keep asking myself, okay, what are we supposed to do next? Because again, we don't just have one savings account, we have several, and every single one of them has a purpose. Not because we're trying to be impressive, not because we're extreme. It's just how my brain works, because I'm the one that manages my family's finances. So we have one savings account for bills that don't happen every month, which is the annual stuff, the quarterly stuff, the things that only exist digitally and gets pulled out automatically. And then there's another one for things that come up all the time but never feel predictable, which is birthdays, school stuff, car maintenance, holidays that are even the big ones but still cost money. And then we also have an emergency fund, and that one's separate on purpose, which I don't touch it, I don't mentally borrow from it, and I don't pretend it's there. And then there's another one for our home, which is for repairs, any future moves, things we know will happen, we just don't know when. And then another one, which is for our kids, not for anything specifically just yet, but for when life starts for them. And when I say it out loud, it sounds very organized, and it is. But here's the part I don't hear people talk about very often, which is the more organized our savings got, the more pressure I started to feel. And it's not pressure to spend, more like pressure to not mess it up. Like if a dollar ends up in the wrong account, or if we didn't think of a category ahead of time, then I failed somehow. And I started noticing this pattern. The calmer things looked on paper, the louder my brain got. And I don't think this is about money. I think it's about control. Because when you've lived through instability or scarcity or long seasons of having to be careful, you start believing that if you can just plan well enough, nothing bad will happen. So I plan and I organize and I label, and most of the time it works. But sometimes it feels like I'm carrying the responsibility of anticipating everything. Such as, what if something falls outside the plan? What if there's a category I didn't think of? What if life shows up in a way that doesn't fit neatly into an account? And that's when saving stops feeling like security and it starts feeling like something I have to manage perfectly. And I want to be clear here. I know saving money is a privilege, we save a significant portion of our income, and I don't take that lightly. I'm not comparing this to people who are struggling to survive. This isn't that conversation. This is about being in the middle, being okay financially, but still carrying the mental load, still checking accounts, still double checking dates, still making sure everything lands where it's supposed to, you know, still asking, is this enough? Did I forget something? And what happens next? And that question never really goes away because logically, I know we're okay. But emotionally, I'm not sure I ever learned how to rest there. And I don't know how to just exist in the space where things are fine. So, this isn't advice. I'm not telling anyone how many savings account they should save or how they should organize their money. I'm just noticing something about myself that the calmer things look on the outside, the more responsibility I feel on the inside. And maybe that's something other people feel too, because we're not that broke, but we're also not that put together. And I think it's okay to admit that both can be true at the same time, because sometimes being okay doesn't feel like relief. It just feels like another thing you don't want to mess up. And I'm still figuring out what that means.